All right, let's talk about job interviews in India. You see, it's not just a simple Q&A session. It's kind of a performance. It's not just about what's written on your resume, but really about how you communicate your value. So today, we're going to crack that code and figure out exactly how to ace that performance.
So, what does it really take to stand out and impress? I mean, a great resume gets you in the door, but that's just the start. It's all about understanding those unwritten rules, navigating the cultural side of things with confidence. Let's break down the exact strategy you're going to need. Okay, so here's our game plan. It's pretty straightforward, really. We're going to walk through 5 key stages of the interview. First, we'll get your pre-interview plan sorted. Then, we'll talk about nailing that crucial first impression. After that, it's all about communicating the Indian way. Then we'll dive into how to answer questions for maximum impact. And finally, how to wrap things up with a confident farewell. All right, first things first, your pre-interview game plan. Confidence isn't just something you wake up with on interview day. Nope, it's something you build, piece by piece, with solid preparation. And that work starts way before you even think about walking through that door. The classic first question. So tell me about yourself. Everyone gets this one, right? The trick is to have a killer answer ready to go. And the best way to do that is with this simple 4-step structure. First, who are you professionally? Then, give a quick highlight of what you've done. Next, what are you great at? And this is the most important part. Wrap it all up by explaining exactly why you're the perfect person for this specific job. So how long should this intro be? The sweet spot is somewhere between 60 and 90 seconds. Any shorter, and you might seem like you haven't prepared. Any longer, and you risk them tuning out. The real goal here is to practice this thing until it just flows. You want it to sound sharp, to the point, and totally natural. Okay, so you've got your killer opening ready, but what about everything that happens before you even say a word? That's what we're talking about next, nailing the first impression. Because trust me, the interview starts the second they lay eyes on you. When you're thinking about what to wear, just remember one thing: professional and serious. That's the vibe. We're talking clean lines, muted colors. For women, a smart kurti with leggings is a fantastic and professional option. Look, the goal here isn't to be a fashion icon. It's to let your skills do all the talking. Oh, and a quick tip, carry a clean, simple folder for your documents. It just looks so much sharper than a big, bulky bag. Your body language, it says so much before you even open your mouth. So walk in like you mean it, but don't rush. Look them in the eye. It shows confidence. And here's a really important cultural tip. Always wait for them to offer you a seat. It's a simple sign of respect that goes a long way. And once you're seated, sit up straight. It shows you're engaged. Try to avoid fidgeting, because that can scream nervous. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about communication. Because in the Indian corporate world, it's not just about what you say. The how, well, that can be just as important, if not more so. I want you to remember these 4 words. They are your absolute pillars for communication: clarity, politeness, confidence, and structure. Seriously, interviewers are listening for these things. Are your thoughts clear? Is your tone polite? Do you sound confident? And is there a logical flow to your answers? If you can nail these 4, you're already way ahead of the curve.
Here's a super simple but really powerful language hack. Ditch the casual fillers, words like kinda or this thing. Instead, pack your sentences with strong, active verbs. So instead of saying, I was kind of doing this project, switch it to, I was responsible for this project, or even better, I led this project. See the difference? It shows ownership and just sounds so much more professional.
All right, let's get to the main event, answering for impact. This is where the magic happens. Look, it's not enough to just list off your skills from your resume. You have to prove your value. You have to show them exactly how your experience is the solution to their problems.
And one of the best tools in your toolbox for this is the STAR method. You might have heard of it, Indian managers love this, and for good reason. It's super clear, it's structured, and it's all about the results. It forces you to go beyond just saying what you did, and instead show what you actually accomplished. So that's situation, task, action, and the big one, the results.
Let me show you what I mean. Here's the before and after. The before answer is something like, yeah, I handled a client issue. Okay, but the after, using STAR, is so much better. You set the scene, explain what you did, and then you hit them with a measurable result, like, and by doing that, I reduced the issue by 40%. Now that is an answer that proves your impact. Okay, but what about that nightmare scenario? What happens when they ask you something and you just don't know the answer? The absolute number one rule is do not fake it. Seriously, honesty mixed with a can-do attitude is what they want to see. Just say something like, I haven't worked on that specifically, but here's how I'd get up to speed. This completely flips the script. It turns a potential negative into a huge positive about how you solve problems. And let's quickly cover a few more of those key cultural nuances, those unwritten rules. First, never ever interrupt the interviewer. Let them finish. Second, be confident for sure, but mix it with a little humility. Being too aggressive can backfire. Third, really play up your willingness to learn and adapt. That's a huge deal. And last but not least, and this is a big one, never ever say anything negative about a past job or a past boss. Just don't. We're almost at the finish line. Let's talk about ending the interview on a real high note with a confident farewell. The last impression is just as important as the first, so we've got to make it count. So, at the end, they're always going to ask, do you have any questions for us? And your answer should always be yes. Always. Saying no just makes it seem like you're not that interested. But when you ask smart questions like these, it shows you're engaged. It shows you're already thinking about how you can contribute. You're not just a candidate. You're a potential problem solver. So I want you to think about it this way. Your next interview is not a test. It's your stage. It's your chance to tell your professional story. Use these tips, pay attention to the cultural details, and build a story that really connects. So the only real question left is, how are you going to tell your story?